Good afternoon to all of you. I know that there are many of you, and therefore, what we'll do is that rather than having everybody introduce themselves now, we'll have you introduce yourselves when the time comes for interactions. Just some general housekeeping rules for the road to recovery. Please keep your microphones on silent for the duration of the program while people are presenting, while our presenters are presenting. And you can ask your questions in chat. And I'd encourage you that when the time comes, you can unmute yourselves and ask your questions over video. But if you can't, you can just put your questions via chat as well, and we'll take them when we stop. Please, you will have the opportunity to unmute your mic when the time for discussion comes about. Without any further ado, I think let me just say that this is a very important topic. I think many people have commented that they wanted a topic about insurance for quite some time, and I'm happy to introduce my colleague, Dr. Shivkumar, who is an additional professor in the Psychiatric Rehabilitation Services in the Department of Psychiatry, and I don't think we could have a better chairperson for this event. So thank you all of you for coming. Shiva, please.
Thanks, Deepak. Good afternoon to one and all, to people who have joined. So today's session is, as you know, it's about insurance for families of persons with psychiatric disabilities. When we mean psychiatric disability, we mean mental illness. We also mean developmental conditions like intellectual disability and then autism spectrum disorders. Some of you may be puzzled about why have we termed it as insurance, and that too, why have we termed it for families? I think there is a reason for it. The most popular insurance which people look for is the health insurance component. But beyond health insurance, there are other insurance like term insurance and then disability insurance also, which is very important for families. I think we will get to know more about some of these insurances and as well as like what we need to know from our speakers. So we welcome both our speakers, Mr. Jitendra Solanki as well as Ms. Kamini Singhal, for having made it and for having agreed to be a part of this particular program. To begin with, may I request Mr. Jitendra Solanki to start off the proceedings.
Thank you, Dr. Yeah. Thank you, sir. So welcome to you all to this presentation. So I'll straight away, start. Okay, 1 second. So you can see my screen.
Yes, we can, sir. We can see your screen. Please go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon to you all. So today we are going to discuss a very important topic, and so I'll be talking more broadly on insurance planning rather than going deep into products. So especially for families who have got a special need dependent. So how should they go about planning insurance, and what all insurance planning is required? Because when we say insurance planning, there are a lot of insurances available. So what kind of an insurance they should look for? Health insurance, surely after the last 2 years, after a pandemic, I would say it is the topmost priority now. But beyond health insurance also, what you should look at. To just give you a brief, my name is Jitendra Solanki. I am founder of Plan Special Needs and Director of Special Need Estate Planners Private Limited. I run these firms solely, exclusively for special need children families. Having an experience of 15 years in financial service industry, I also authored a book called Financial Planning for Families Having Children with Special Needs. Other two people, Dr. Shweta Solanki, so she is a chief consultant at Plan Special Needs and also a director of Special Need Estate Planners Private Limited. She is from disability, so she is a disability expert with 15 years more experience. And in our team, there is also Shilpa Wag, who is a consultant with Plan Special Needs and associated with Special Need Estate Planners Private Limited. Now, both these organizations cater to different areas of planning for special needs children families. So we are talking about insurance. Now, when we look at insurance, home, life, health, car, so there is, I would say, gamut of insurance products available. Which one is important and which one you should, buy? What is there in health? So we're going to talk all about this. So first, what are the list of insurance available? There is life insurance, which is for providing a financial support to the families in case of premature death of parents or caregivers. We all know about life insurance. There are different life insurance products, but which one of these best suits a family with a special need dependent? Health insurance, which largely covers sickness or injury, which can lead to loss of income or a financial hole in the pocket. Last 2 years we have all realized about health insurance. Disability insurance, I'm not talking about disability with respect to special need, but disability insurance, say if the breadwinner of the family is unable to work due to disability, then there is insurance available for them also. And there is property and casualty insurance for house, automobiles. There is liability insurance if one of the parents are in any kind of business. And there are annuities which cover the risk of longevity. If you live long, then what? Where would the finances come from? So these are list of insurance which is available. So when you are planning, when you are saying what kind of insurance should I buy, this is a list, but we are going to talk more on the top three priorities, or I'd say the three pillars of safety net which is available for the families, and that is health, life, and disability. So these three are the topmost insurance which should be there in your planning, which you have to plan, and which any point of time you should be having an adequate coverage for both health, life, and disability. So let's talk about health insurance. What is there in health insurance? Uh, as far as insurance for psychiatric disability is concerned, for companies, still a gray area. There is lot more to think on, lot more to decide. There is lot more to come. Up till now, there was a complete, or I would say 2 years back, there was a complete avoidance of persons with mental illness and intellectual development disorder. So insurance companies were not covering, at all. If I talk about autism, or other disabilities, they were not, they were permanently excluded. And similarly with mental illness, so companies were not covering at all. And so the result was that the families have to plan themselves for any health emergency. So it's from their resources only they have to plan everything, and that's where health insurance stand 2 years back. But now, with respect to health insurance, when planning, with a special need dependent, employer insurance, most of the salaried, have an employer insurance, where largely even the in some of the employer insurance I have seen, even the special need, are also covered. But employer insurance is never adequate. It's not enough, and it remains till you are employed. The scope of insurance for person with psychiatric disabilities will enhance now. Going forward, you will find health insurance for person with psychiatric disabilities. Uh, Families with special need dependent, they need to cover adequately. So it's not only about them, about the special need dependent. So they have to cover themselves also adequately, because it's a financial loss. If any health emergency arises, it's a financial loss, be it the special need and or the any of the parents. And creating a health fund and insurance is not available up till now. That's what families have been doing, because there was no health insurance available, for psychiatric disabilities and others. But there are two changes which happened for good. And July 2018, mental illness got included in the ambit of insurance coverage. So all insurance companies were mandated to start covering, treatment of mental illness now. That was in July 2018. 1st October 2020, there was another guidelines by IRDA, and the regulator issued a list of treatment that need to be mandatorily covered by all insurance. So no more insurance can deny permanently exclusion to all the disabilities, and mostly behavior, neurodevelopment disorders, genetic diseases, and disorders, they have been included now. And both these changes are for good, because health insurance, we are seeing these changes are happening, and now disabilities will also, start getting coverage, with a caveat that yes, whenever these kind of mandates come, and especially when it has to be implemented by health insurance companies, things move slow because it's still a gray area, what to be covered, what not to be covered. And recently I was listening 2 days back a case which is going on in the Delhi High Court, where High Court has mandated IRDA to implement the the act which got changed. So implement the act and ask all insurance companies to start covering people with mental illness. So mental illness insurance for mental illness, it's a new area for insurance companies. Hence, there is confusion what to be covered, what not to be covered, and that's why this delay. Some plans, so there are some insurance companies which have started covering it, and some of them might cover under pre-existing, white others may not. So insurance is a very specific area, and company to company your coverage may vary. So one company might cover it differently, other company might cover it differently. You do not still have standardized product for all these or health insurance available. Regular health plan cover hospitalization expenses for mental illness. Now one of the things which should be aware is that the regular health plan, where if the person is covered, it might not cover specific to mental illness, but it will still cover hospitalization expenses, a general hospitalization expenses, it will still cover. And a mental health insurance policy, if a specific policy comes in or specification comes in the general health insurance policy, will cover expenses incurred due to hospitalization which is related to mental disorders. So the health insurance policy will cover specific to that. Now OPD are generally not covered. It has not been very successful even in the general health policies, but we see some companies have started covering it. So it's not yet fully covered, but we might see a start. So it's still OPDs are also getting covered. And for severe mental illness, to my view, health insurance plan may not be available. So health insurance plan also have categories. So they also define categories, that a severe disability or a lower disability, and based on that, then they issue health insurance. Largely for severe disabilities, health insurance companies avoid giving any health insurance coverage. So I'll just name a few where mental illness insurance have started getting coverage. Go Digit is one insurance company where you see OPD coverage is available. Max Bupa Go Active, Manipal Cigna Pro Health Insurance, HDFC Ergo Critical Illness Plan, Reliance General Insurance, and so these are the companies where the treatment for mental illness is getting covered. Now, these are not standardized product where you see everything is covered in all the insurance companies. You might see the coverage vary in all the insurance companies. Max Bupa might cover it differently. Manipal Cigna might cover it differently. So these companies have started covering it. I think it's time where you follow, other companies also. They start covering mental illness. But yes, I would add a caveat that the implementation of Mental Health Act, that has been quite slow as far as health insurance is concerned. And so there are already mandates for insurance companies, for the regulator to implement this act and start mandate companies to start covering mental, start giving claim towards that. Neurodevelopment disorders, it's a good, we see a very good change in that. Health insurance is now available for autism, Down syndrome, and other disabilities. We see companies, you have specific policies for autism now. Star Health and Religare Health Insurance made a start where they have come out with a complete specific product for autism, and they are being refined. We might see other companies also coming up, might specific product or in general health policies giving a specific coverage to autism. For other disabilities, no specific product as such, but coverage has started. That's a good news. Now these policies generally cover hospitalization expenses. should not expect the regular expenses like therapies and others to be getting covered in these health policies. Star Health cover it, but to a very bare minimum extent, but largely these would cover hospitalization expenses. Some of these you may find a waiting period of 2 to 3 years before you start claiming from these companies, and you will also find certain exclusion related to specific disability. So any specific product you might find certain exclusions available, but expect more companies to start covering these disabilities through specific policies. So as I said, there are those two changes made good things for the industry, for families, that health insurance is being made available. I won't say we have reached there where we find a really good products. There are limitation in all these products, but yes, the good thing is there that the products, the health insurance are now available for disabilities like autism. Government health insurance scheme, apart from Nirmaya, I don't see there is any other insurance available. Now, this plan is provided by National Trust for Welfare of Person with Autism, CP, MR, and multiple disabilities. Sum insured is 1 lakh, no pre-insurance medical test and treatment can be available at any hospital. So this is the only one scheme which is available for long and available today, and I don't see any other health insurance scheme is available. So more or less you have to rely on the health insurance products which are available from public sectors and plus private insurance. I mentioned some of them. Going forward 5 years down the line, you might see more products coming in, but largely both of these psychiatric disabilities where mental illness and development disorders, both are getting covered in health insurance. So that was on health insurance. Now the second element of planning is life insurance, and when I say life insurance, providing financial for the care of a person with disabilities, it's a long life care for a a person with autism. So a family has to plan that where would the finances come from, especially from beyond their lifetime. And life insurance is one of the good tool where it covers for special for families with special need dependent, and there are two life insurance considerable for families with special need dependent. Apart from these two, I would say other insurance policies won't be as benefit as much, but whole life insurance policy and term life insurance policy, now these are the two kind of insurance policies we see globally also. These two are the considerable product where families look at these two products to covering comprehensively for the finances, especially after their lifetime. Now, life insurance is a very great tool to provide for financial requirement, especially post parents' lifetime. When you are taking a life insurance coverage, it should cover person with disabilities lifetime care cost. So whether autism or whether any disability, what is the lifetime care cost? The life insurance when and taken by parents should cover this lifetime care cost. For example, if the lifetime care cost is suppose 1 crore, the life insurance you buy on yourself, which will provide the finances after your lifetime, should have this coverage included. Both parents, caregivers need life insurance coverage. So when we talk about parents, one might be earning, other would be caring for the special need for 24/7. Now for the life insurance coverage, both of the parents are important, because if even if the parents say a housewife is not there tomorrow, then also there would be a financial impact on the other parent. He is earning, he will have to rely on professionals to care for the special needs, and that's why the life insurance both parents should have. Term life insurance is the most viable product. When I say term life insurance, it means a pure life insurance. That is the most viable product because that can give you higher coverage with a lower premium. Otherwise, in any insurance product you choose, if you want to buy a higher coverage, the premium would be out of your means. Specific life insurance policies is not available today. They used to be Jeevan Aadhar, Jeevan Vishwas kind of a product, but as of now, specific life insurance policies for a person with disabilities or any family who have got a person with disabled dependent is not available today. And this is a very, very important tool, an important estate for instant funding of the trust after the parent's lifetime. So generally we advise parents should form a trust and financial should be placed in the trust. Now, when you have a gap, when you are not able to provide the complete finances, the life insurance become a very important tool which can fund the trust after your lifetime and which can meet the financial gap which would be there for meeting the financial requirements of a person with disability. Now, how to identify the life insurance coverage? Now, that is a very important question, because most of the time when you see, there are thumb rules like buy 20 times of your income or buy, multiple of your expenses as a life insurance coverage. But when you, as a family, when you have a special need, it's important that you identify the actual coverage. As I said, it needs to include the special need dependent care, lifetime care, also the amount for that. So how do you identify? First of all, we look at what is the immediate corpus required. There is emergency reserves, paying off loans and liabilities, the cover legal expenses. When I say legal expenses, you might have to draft a will, form a trust, or legal guardianship, or any other legal expenses that might come tomorrow if you have not planned today. Generate lifetime income, meeting month-on-month living expenses, child lifetime care, regular expenses for hiring housemaids and servant for self or child care, fees for guardianship, legal and other professionals such as trustees. Now, this is the immediate corpus which might be required post your lifetime. Future requirement, what can be the future requirement? What can come up in the future which you might have to plan for? Child care for older age of surviving spouse. Now, if you are not there tomorrow, the surviving for the surviving spouse, the child care would be there, at her older age. Retirement expenses for surviving spouse, if sibling, then expenses for his or her education and marriage. And cost of house purchase if the child with disability is going to live separately. This is an analysis of how you identify your life insurance coverage. Generally, for a family with special needs, thumb rules do not work that much. It works only up to a certain extent. But yes, when you want to identify that how much life insurance coverage should I have, which can meet my future goals, this is how you identify the life insurance coverage. So checklist in choosing a life insurance policy. Now, how do you choose? There are so many life insurance policies available. And as I said, there is whole life insurance, which can generate a cash value, and there is a term life insurance, which can give you higher coverage. So how do you choose a life insurance policy? Now, numbers favor term insurance, but your emotions will find policies with cash value attractive. Generally, for any family, when you see a life insurance product which can give you some return, it is very attractive. But when you work out the numbers, then term insurance becomes a viable product. For example, you need a 2 crore coverage to fill that gap which is there. But this 2 crore, if you buy from a cash value policy like a whole life insurance, the premium is going to run into lakhs. But if you buy into a term insurance, it might be in thousand. And that's why I say number favors term insurance. With a less outgo, you can buy a higher coverage to meet the special need dependent financial requirement. It is difficult to afford premium of cash value policies. As I said, if you want to buy a higher coverage, the premium runs into lakhs. So it might be just beyond your means. And so if you cannot afford both, both cash value and term insurance, affording them might not be possible, then stick to term insurance. If early death occurs, only term insurance can fulfill high fund requirement. Now, cash value policies need a time frame, 10 years, 20 years, 25 years to generate a value which can accumulate assets. Now, how can you cover that risk? Because term insurance, instant funding, if something happens within the next 5 years, a cash value policy cannot give you a higher coverage. Only term insurance can give you. So whenever you are buying a life insurance, just check, it can give me a high cash value. If not, then which is a product. In the long term, there are other options available. You can choose investments, more efficient, mutual funds, PPF or any other. But for creating an instant fund, instant corpus after your lifetime, beyond term insurance, we don't see any product which can give you within that means, within your budget. Start early so that you don't have to depend on insurance. So generally we say that if you start early, you might accumulate a good sum from your investment and just buy a term insurance, for meeting an instant funding of the person with disabilities financial requirement. Disability insurance, now this is not disability, a person with disability, but if something happens to the breadwinner, then if suppose permanently disabled, now term insurance will not factor in because it is a life insurance, then income stops, parent is not able to work, then is there any insurance which can cover that risk? A disability insurance largely covers those risks. Fulfill financial requirements if parents caregivers are temporarily or permanently disabled. And generally you find disability insurance which are in India, some of them, very few, I would say, an option of monthly payout for few years along with the lump sum payout. Now in India, disability insurance is available through accidental insurance policies. So whatever accidental insurance policies you see or accident rider you see, they have got a disability component also, that if you are permanently disabled, the amount will be paid to your family. Checklist. So how you choose a disability insurance policy? Look at weekly, monthly benefit for how long, days, weeks, and years. What is the waiting period, for claiming? What are the benefit period? How long, days, weeks, and years? Definition of disability. Any policy which is giving you a disability insurance, is it comprehensive enough? What does it exclude, especially related to occupation? Most of the accidental insurance policies have got an exclusion with related to occupation hazards, and if you work in an occupation where there is a higher risk, they generally either exclude or there is a higher premium, so there would be an exclusion. Does it cover temporary partial disability, and what defines it? What is the definition of temporary or partial disability? Premium. And can you cover spouse or siblings also in same policy? So there are accidental insurance policies where spouse and siblings can also be covered. And what additional feature it can provide? So there are policies which will provide, rehabilitation, damage repairs, transportation expenses. So disability insurance becomes important from this perspective. Now generally we don't see disability insurance getting so much importance, because when we see the numbers of accidents, it leads more, the numbers are more towards death, less toward disability, and that's why it is not given a priority. But it should be a priority, because if this comes in, you don't have any other coverage, and that's where you need financials to at least to move towards a stage where you can think something. So maybe for 2 years, 3 years, or next 5 years, if you have financial available, then you can plan something. But if it falls short of, then you are in a very difficult situation, and that's why disability insurance is also important. So life, health, life, and disability, I would say these are three pillars of the safety net you want to create for your family. Other insurance can be chosen based on your requirement. Home, car is mandatory, business. So what all, wherever you see there can be a bigger financial loss, and you can be dragged for finances 3 years or 5 years behind. I think it should be covered through educate insurance. Okay, so I'll come to income tax deduction. Now there are income tax deduction available. There are some specific to person with disability. There are general, especially towards health insurance. So there is section 80D where whatever health insurance you buy, so the deduction, you can get a deduction on premium towards a health insurance policy. So whatever is the premium you are paying for that health insurance, you get a deduction under section 80D, and it can be claimed for yourself, your spouse, dependent children, or parent. So whenever you buy a health insurance policy for your child, specific policy, it will be covered under section 80D, where you can claim a deduction on the premium you are paying. Now largely this is the income tax deduction under 80D. So self, including spouse, and under 60, and parents also under 60, the maximum, these are the maximum limit, 25,000, and 25,000 for parents, 25,000 for self, you get up to 50,000. If you self below 60, now if parents are above 60, you can claim additional 50,000. So the maximum limit is 75,000. And if you are also beyond 60 and parents are also beyond 60, then you can claim 50,000 each. So this is a maximum limit on which you get a deduction for your health insurance. Now this is combine all the health insurance policies under section 80D. These are the maximum limit you can claim. Now there is a section 80DD benefit also, where you can claim expenses toward the special needs, whatever expenses you have incurred toward the treatment of person with disabilities. But there is an element of insurance premium also you can claim under section 80DD. Now this is not specific to health insurance, but if the individual has paid deposited money under any scheme of life, LIC, or any other insurer or administrator or the specified company for the maintenance of disabled dependent, you can claim that amount as a deduction from your income. Now, the scheme in which this money is deposited should provide annuity payment or lump sum amount for benefit of dependents suffering from disability, even on the death of the individual. So largely annuity, so all those annuity plans you will find. Now there is an annuity plan available today where from LIC, where they have included specification for special need dependent also, which is that after the policy holder death, or of one of the parents, then the benefit of annuity will move to the special needs child or the special need dependent, and that is called Jeevan Shanti. So any amount you are paying, or money you have deposited, you can claim under section 80DD as a deduction from your income. Now there is a limit to it, how much you can claim. For disability between 40 to 80%, you can claim up to 75,000, and for disability above 80%, you can claim up to 1.25 lakh. Then there is section 80U. Now 80U is for deduction for the individual himself, herself. So if person with disability buy any any expenses incurred or on himself, then he can claim under section 80U. Again, the limit is same, up to 75,000, 1.25 lakh, but it cannot be claimed if deduction is claimed under section 80DD. So either 80DD or 80U. The difference between these two is that 80DD is for the dependent. So parents can claim for the person with disabilities. Section 80U can be claimed directly for the person with disabilities. And either one of them can be claimed. You cannot claim both. So that's on insurance planning. I'll be happy to take queries.
Thank you very much, sir. So I think there is another more detailed presentation on insurance for severe mental illness also. Right now, I think we have about 2 queries, which we will address to Mr. Jitendra. I think one is, does insurance also cover daily therapies? Like, for example, a lot of persons, children with special needs, they go for physiotherapy, occupational therapy, etc. And for counseling also. Can you actually shed some light on it, sir?
No, largely health insurance companies are not covering therapies. There was only one introduced by Star Health, but that is only a limit up to 1,500 annually, which is, I think negligible. But health insurance largely will cover hospitalization expenses. As of yet now, though they are not covering therapies and any other regular expenses.
Okay.
Mr. Jitendra.
Ma'am,
yeah.
Ma'am, Ma'am, Dr. Nirmala, like we have another presentation on severe mental illness, ma'am. Like we will take up those questions.
Related to Mr. Jitendra, you mentioned the name of an insurance company which gives OPD coverage. Please ask him to repeat that name. That's all.
Ma'am, we have that in the next presentation also, ma'am. We are covering it in greater detail.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Sir, there is one more query. Like Ms. Momita, I think, has actually given a query on her son, who is 14 years old, has learning difficulty and developmental delay. He has epilepsy, for which he is being treated and he is fine. But whenever they go for health insurance, their case is usually rejected. How can he be covered?
Okay.
think the video has frozen.
Yeah, I think lost connectivity.
Yeah, we will wait for it. Maybe in the meanwhile, we will cover certain other questions. Mr. Pranav has asked who needs to define percentage of disability for section 80U. Deepak, can you take that question?
You can take Shiva, no problem. Basically, see, you need a letter from your healthcare provider to basically submit it along with it. So this is usually as per the disability certificate which have been issued already. Anything you want to add to that, Shiva?
Yeah, basically you need to get the disability certificate from the nearest medical board. So they will be the persons who actually assess and then certify for disability.
Or for what, which one? For claiming income tax deduction?
Yeah.
See, for income tax deduction, there is already a form which is specified by the income tax. Okay. There is already a form which you can download. So that form, if you get a certificate in that form, that is enough, for claiming income tax deduction.
They are asking for some kind of a specific unique ID. We are not sure how to get that one.
Okay. Can I take that, Shiva?
Yes, please, Deepak.
Yeah, see, the unique disability ID is basically the current format for issuing disability certificates in India has shifted to the unique disability ID, for which the application is online. Now, the unique disability ID is usually issued by a hospital which is close to you. So when somebody applies for the unique disability ID, there will be a list of hospitals given in their acknowledgement slip to which they can go and get a disability certificate from. So that is how the unique disability ID works. So it is the equivalent of a disability certificate. I think there's another question later on about do you need the UDID? If you already have a valid disability certificate, that is applicable for most government schemes at the moment. That the government has not said only the UDID will be accepted. So if you have a valid disability card, it is still valid for most things. But as Mr. Solanki pointed out, for income tax purpose, you need a letter, which is in a particular format, which has to be filled by a healthcare provider. And that can be supported by your UDID, but that is the format that is there. Does that answer your question, sir?
Can you share me the website link for that one?
It has been added by Dr. Shivkumar in the chat.
Sure.
Swavlambancard.gov.in. That is the applicable site.
Thank you.
Sir, and we will request Mr. Solanki. Sir, are you there?
Oh, I think he's again.
Okay, I think there is.
Yeah.
Issue.
Yeah. So I was saying there is already a format available by income tax. Okay. You can download that format. You can get a certificate in that format and you can apply it, for income tax deduction.
Sir, there is a question by Ms. Momita about her son. Where he actually says that he is a person with developmental disability and their health insurance coverage gets rejected. So how can she go about it?
Epilepsy. For epilepsy, right?
Yes.
No. She also mentions that she also mentions that he has a learning disability and learning difficulty and developmental delay.
So his policy is getting rejected not because of learning difficulty, but because of epilepsy. Okay. See, there are certain treatment which might be permanently excluded.
Shiva, should we ask Ms. Momita to unmute and kind of ask a question?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Momita, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir. So my question is epilepsy is permanently excluded from any insurance?
Yes, as of now, as far as I know, epilepsy still companies are not covering.
If you don't mind, can I take that question?
Yeah. Please.
I'm a little ahead of my time, I believe. My presentation is next, wherein I'll talk about all the health insurance policies in detail. But ma'am, for your question, most of the insurance companies, it's not permanently excluded. It basically goes into an underwriting. So you first apply for it. The insurer will say that our underwriters would take a decision on it. On paper, it's not included, but it'll go for an underwriting process there where either they would increase the premium or they would completely reject it. I can pitch for Star Health, which sometimes approves such diseases and such proposals. So ma'am, you can at least try for Star Health. And if you're having difficulty getting through the process, in the presentation, I'll also put in my email ID. You can write to me and I'll help you out. I'll get that policy done for you.
Okay, okay. So as far as I remember, my husband already applied in Star Health Insurance and it is they rejected it.
Okay, we can try again, ma'am, because recently I got it done for one of my client.
Okay.
And they sometimes take some time to take these decisions, but if we are very persistent, they usually approve it.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
The other policy that could be considered is Niramaya, that has no exclusions for any conditions. So that is something that this Mamita could consider.
What is that name, sir?
Niramaya scheme.
Niramaya? Is that company or the scheme name?
No, it is a scheme issued by the National Trust Act.
Okay.
So once you have a disability, you need a unique disability ID made for this scheme. Or if you have already a disability certificate, you can apply for the scheme under the National Trust Act. So there are usually some bodies which are available under the National Trust website. And if you apply to the organization near you, they will help you get a policy.
Okay. Okay.
We've actually covered it also previously in some R2R presentations. Perhaps at the end of this, we can provide you links to some of those this thing as well, presentations as well.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So Niramaya is a scheme which Mr. Jitendra also covered in his presentation. So the premium is pretty nominal. For a person who is above poverty line, it's only about 500 rupees for the first time registration and 250 rupees for subsequent registration, and you get a coverage of up to 1 lakh. So this is something which we recommend all parents who have a special child, like especially conditions like mental retardation, cerebral palsy, autism spectrum disorder, and multiple disabilities. We recommend that you actually take it. And you can take Niramaya along with other health insurances also if our understanding is right.
Sir, I have a thing. I wanted to share something.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, actually, talking about Niramaya, 1 lakh is 1 lakh is the thing. But what happens is
there are sublimits, ma'am.
We are not getting the full amount, sir. Actually, large amount only.
Yeah, there are sublimits, ma'am.
Amount. No, they are divided that 1 lakh into.
Ma'am, we are unable to hear you. I think there are some connectivity issues.
I think you can address the
question. The video and try to call.
Yeah, I think Shiva, you can address. I think the question is about sublimits.
Yeah, I think there are sublimits with the Niramaya health insurance scheme. So for OPD coverage, it's only about 8,000 you get reimbursed. While for inpatient hospitalizations, it's up to about 30,000. So in that sense, it is not a very comprehensive thing, but for the amount of premium which you pay, it's actually very good value for money, which you can take. In addition, people can also opt for other insurances also. And maybe I think there is also a question about a person with Down syndrome, and they want to go for a.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So Down syndrome is, I think already some companies have started, giving. I got informed by one of the parents that ICICI Lombard was, ready to give them insurance. So probably you can start, applying if you're, you have a child with Down syndrome, you can start applying with health insurance companies. You will get coverage now.
Sir, there is a question. If my child with autism gets COVID, won't insurance companies cover him?
I do not know exactly, because autism policies, just came in. Probably, Kamini would be able to answer on that. There's a very specific, that autism policy, whether that covers COVID or not, because we are talking about specific autism policies like Star Health and Religare Health. Those are, coverage for autism. To my mind, they should cover it. They shouldn't be denied.
Okay.
Yes, they would cover it actually, provided that if you have that health insurance already. Also, a lot of insurers suggest that you exclude the disability and then get your child or then get the person covered. You put that particular disease in permanent exclusion. If even that is the case, if you've got a policy, even in that case, COVID would be covered. Also, you can opt for the COVID specific insurances. And I would recommend everybody to go for a COVID specific insurance because as per IRDA, insurers have to issue those policies to everybody despite of their PEDs or any other illness condition. So a COVID insurance policy right now is a must. If you buy it today, it will be applicable within 15 days, and it has a 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and a year duration. Insurers are revising it every now and then. So good products are coming in every 3 months and 4 months. Recently, I believe you can take ICICI product or Eligare product. Both are very good. 15 days waiting period and almost everything is covered. So
I think we have a lot of queries right now.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
My name is Yogu Rao. May I come in to the meeting?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
If others have, because I'd like to get in when it's appropriate. Is it an appropriate?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
My name is Yogu Rao. I'm a former senior divisional manager of National Insurance Company. I'm also presently an advisor to Birla Sun Life Insurance Company. So I have exposure to both general insurance in all its aspects of property, liability, accident, and health, and life insurance, about which you have all considerably spoken with so much knowledge on the subject. I would like to offer, if I may, for the purpose of this meeting, we use this as a basis to get very concrete about what we need and get something out into the for the sake of our people. And I am concentrating at the moment on mental insurance. Mental insurance is very shy. People are shy about it. And I represent the National Insurance Company. No, I don't represent them. I'm their friend. I was formerly there, but they are friends of mine. And their policy, which is the Mediclaim policy, has provision for including mental insurance.
Yes.
So I would commend, if I may, that we take a look at that first and foremost, so that we identify all aspects of protection, which is fairly comprehensive, and come later on to OPD and other things and other illnesses or other aspects of illnesses or conditions which may branch off and require one-off treatment. But for a start, for all the trouble that you are taking, if we can identify on one which will comprehensively cover and serve the general overall purpose of caregivers, and with reference to their children through life insurance and medical insurance with health insurance, I think that would be a start, if I may suggest. That's my suggestion.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
And for that, I'm prepared to get I have some material ready, and for that I can speak to any of you or call on any of you or arrange to have a meeting with you or all of you to explain and amplify point-wise. To check the boxes, as they say.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. We will also contact you maybe for some future sessions, sir, where you can shed more light on this. Today
Yes.
we have one more speaker, Ms. Kamini from Securenow. So we invite Ms. Kamini to start her presentation.
sure. I'll just share my screen. I hope this is visible to all. So I would just brief you about myself and the company I work for. My name is Kamini Singhal, and I work in a company called Securenow Insurance. It's an intermediary company. It's a broker. And the specified area in which they actually perform is SME insurance, a commercial insurances for small and medium-sized companies. We have a small vertical of retail insurance wherein we provide individual term, individual health, term insurance, critical illness insurance, home insurance, motor insurance to our clients. This small vertical is a very bespoke vertical, and by bespoke I mean that you come to us with your specific requirements, and we would actually curate a portfolio for you, which will have term insurance, health insurance, home insurance, property insurance, and everything that you require. And we do not market anything in terms of individual insurance. All our clients are via references, because we do not believe in push sales at all. So we would not have a telecaller who would call up people and tell them that you should buy this insurance or you should buy that insurance. It's completely need based, and it's more like problem solving for our clients. We also do something called a Mint Securenow Mediclaim rating. It is an annual rating which we perform, which is published in Mint newspaper every week. This is a rating of all the health insurance products that are available in the market, and how do they perform with respect to their premium, with respect to the product features that is available, and with respect to responding to claims, because that is a very important and a critical part about insurance, responding to claims, how insurance respond to claims. So with that, I'll start my presentation. Just a minute. Yeah. So on this, we have already been briefed about how mental health came into picture for insurance. Earlier, insurers never used to, it was a permanent exclusion, and they never used to consider people or prospects with mental health or problems related to those for insurance policies. But after the Mental Health Care Act in 2017, insurers and IRDA actually, IRDA forced insurers to cover mental health into their policies, into their product. Having said that, there are still several insurers who have it as a permanent exclusion. There is a lawsuit which is going on one of the big insurers in India, and with respect to IRDA, wherein they have a permanent exclusion of mental illness. And the Supreme Court is basically asking them, after passing the act, how can they actually exclude it? And they're also questioning IRDA that how can they actually approve products which do not include mental health care. So this is how the real world is right now with respect to this. Now, I'll just brief you guys about at what levels and at what stages mental health care is actually covered and how it is viewed by the insurers in the healthcare industry. So when you go and buy a policy, that is at the inception of your policies, there are two types of there are two types of comments or two types of scenarios that you might come across. One, a mental health would be permanently excluded from the policy, not on papers but in their underwriting guidelines. So an insurer would tell you that a very few companies actually take it into account. Now, secondly, mental illness is covered as critical illness in a few policies. There are critical illness add-ons that you can take for your health insurance. In basically, and it's more like an add-on. You have to pay extra premium for that. But conditions like Alzheimer's and more specific severe diseases like these are then covered in these critical illness plans. Now, how a critical illness plan basically works, if you say supposedly buy a critical illness plan of 25 lakhs sum assured,
Ms. Kamini, we are losing your audio in between. Hello.
Ms. Kamini, if
is it fine now?
Yeah, Ms. Kamini,
I'm really sorry. This shouldn't have happened. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. What I suggest is maybe temporarily you
Am I
can turn
audible?
your. Yeah, Ms. Kamini, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you completely.
So what I would
Shall
suggest
I?
is, for a little while, I think while the connection is getting back, would you mind turning off your camera just so that we can see if audio
Sure.
can come through? We
Yeah,
can just
I
try
think,
that and see. Thank you.
yeah, sure. I'll just turn off my video. Shall I continue if the internet connection is little stable?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Can you start from the inception, because even there it got interrupted and we could not hear you when you were speaking about mental illness as a permanent exclusion in some policies.
Exactly, sure. I would repeat myself. So by inception, I mean the moment you're starting your health insurance. Now, when you go and buy a health insurance for a mental for a person who's suffering from mental illness, there could be two scenarios. One, it would be sort of permanently excluded, and by permanently excluded, I mean it would not be permanently excluded on papers. It would be permanently excluded in their underwriting guidelines. So once you actually reach an insurer and tell them about your pre-existing disease condition, the insurer would simply tell you that we can definitely give it a try. They would ask you to go through the entire process of filling the proposal form, and then they would reject it by saying that it's actually not approved by our underwriters. It is as per our underwriting guidelines. A few insurers, they have mental illness covered in their health insurance policies. Having said that, that is only covered if the disease arises after the purchase of policy. So for example, in year one, you actually purchase the policy, and in year two you're diagnosed with something, so the illness would be covered in that policy. Second point that I would like to make is about critical illness. A lot of insurers, they covers diseases like Alzheimer's and other such severe diseases in their critical illness. There is always a list of say 30 to 40 diseases which are declared as critical diseases, and in those policies, most of the insurers, they cover the list of diseases. Now, this critical illness cover can be bought in three manners. It can be bought as an add-on cover to your health insurance policy. It can be bought as an add-on cover.
I think we've lost Ms. Kamini. Just give us a few seconds while we try and get her back.
I'll just contact her.
Sure. Shiva, shall we start running the presentation from the weekend? Then we can have Ms. Kamini just kind of do the voiceover, or just, is that okay?
I think that should be okay.
Yeah. Akash, would you be able to share the presentation from your end?
Yes, sir. We have a presentation.
Yeah. Please start sharing it. You can reach Ms. Kamini's slide.
I would suggest let her join first, and when she will start, then I'll share the screen with that.
Yeah, fine. But when let you share it so that at least bandwidth wise, it is it's better for her.
Hello, sir. In the meanwhile, can I ask one question, please?
Can you see the slide?
Yeah. We can. Madam, you can go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah. So I'm Rajeshwari here. My son is 18 years old. He is diagnosed with intellectual disability, mild. So my question is like, when the other speaker sir was speaking, like, you have to plan out for your child's, how much will be the expenses for all that. So sir also mentioned about life insurance scheme. So I'm just little, I'm not having the knowledge about like I should buy the life insurance scheme in my son's name or in my name, and how to go about it, because life insurance is still we have to pay only for 10 years or 15 years. I just wanted to know brief get
Mr. Solanki, would you like to take that question? The question is about Mr. Solanki. Are you there? Just give us a minute, madam. Yeah.
Hello.
Just give us a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take up that question on life insurance. So,
Sure.
life insurance, primarily you will buy now on yourself. There used to be your child will be as a nominee in your life insurance. So only the benefit will go to him after your lifetime. If it's an annuity product, in any other product, also the benefit goes to him after your lifetime. The products were there before where benefit within your lifetime can also go, but both product has been withdrawn. As of now, the life insurance policies you have, the benefit will go only after your lifetime. So it's better to buy on your name, and he will get the benefit after you, because you're going to pay the premium. And largely specific policies are not available now. If term insurance you buy on your name, if it's a cash value policy, uh, it can be bought, but there would be issues with regards to he is not able to make decision, to legal guardian will make decision. So better you buy on your lifetime, take the maturity if you are there, and then utilize for his benefit, or after your lifetime he is a nominee, the proceeds goes to him.
Thank you,
I
sir.
hope I'm able to answer.
Yeah, I could understand what you said. And actually, at present, I have enrolled myself for from past 3 years pension scheme in life insurance. So, am I eligible to take up the other life insurance also?
Sorry, come again.
At present, from 3 years before, in the year 2018 or something, I have some paying for pension scheme, like 3 months once I'm paying around 13,000 change. So that is actually I have to pay for 10 years and leave it. So now for this life insurance, I have to take up once again something like that, or
No, life insurance, you said about pension scheme, right?
yeah, no, I have already from 3 years I'm paying for pension scheme for 10 years.
Right.
That is the period. So this is the third year I think I am paying.
Which one it is? Which one? See, if the pension scheme which are available earlier, they do not have a specific provision for your child. Okay, under that the provision is only for the spouse. So after you, the pension can go to spouse, but your child will only receive, maybe as a nominee will receive the lump sum benefit if you have taken that option. They don't have a provision of paying to the special child. It's only currently LIC introduce a product where they have specifically provision that after your lifetime, the pension benefit, monthly pension benefit will go to the special need child.
Dr. Shivkumar, can I ask a question?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Shivkumar, can I ask a question?
Ms. Kamini got interrupted in between. Can you finish your presentation and then we will invite you, ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I'm first of all, everybody, I'm really sorry. This never happens with my connection. Day in and day out, I'm actually on BCs, and I'm really embarrassed that this happened. I'm not sure till when was I audible. So I would just brief you guys about all these 4 parts. This time I'll make sure that I keep it short, and I still hope I'm audible to everybody.
Ma'am, you are audible, ma'am. You can actually
Thank you.
discuss about you were discussing about the critical mental illnesses.
Correct,
Like that
correct.
is the time when we actually missed you.
Okay, so I'll continue from critical illness. So every insurance company has a plan or a product called critical illness cover. Now there, wherein what happens is they list say 30 to 35, sometimes 40, sometimes 50. This completely depends on the insurance companies as critical illnesses. Now, if any of those illnesses diagnosed, the moment the illness is diagnosed, the insurance company would pay you the entire sum assured. This critical illness can be bought in three ways. It can be bought as an add-on cover to your health insurance. It can be also bought as an add-on cover to your term insurance, and it can also be bought as a standalone policy. Now, a lot of mental health diseases are also listed in these critical illness. So I would actually request everybody, when they are looking through policies and products, they should definitely look at critical illness and the list of critical illnesses that are there, and then they should make a choice. Now, IPD. I'll move on to IPD. Almost all your health insurance policies have IPD cover. By IPD, I mean there should be a minimum of 24 hours of hospitalization. And if there is no 20, and then of course there are daycare procedures as well. For example, your cataract. Cataract is covered in a lot of health insurance policies because that's a daycare procedure. But apart from your listed daycare procedure, anything which actually has caused you less than 24 hours of hospitalization is not covered in your health insurance policy. Now, this is a big catch for people suffering from mental illness, because most of the time you guys have to go for therapies. You have to take visits for therapy, and those therapy sessions would not be covered in your even if you take a policy that covers mental illness, it would not be covered in your IPD. So for that, everybody should make sure that they buy a cover which actually has an OPD cover. Now, your OPD cover is when you visit a therapist, when you visit a doctor for just a over the counter sort of an consultation, that charges is also covered in your OPD coverage. So I would just repeat myself again. When you're buying a policy, always before buying policy, always check if mental illness is covered or not covered. If it's not covered and you do not have anything such at that very moment, then you should definitely check that in future, if you develop something, will it be covered or not covered. If the answer to both these scenarios is no, then you should definitely avoid buying that policy, because that would never cover you for a mental illness. If you're already suffering from a mental illness, then definitely you should go for a policy that covers mental illness and should not look at any other policy. You should definitely check the list of critical illnesses that are available in your policy, and then the policy which has maximum number of critical illnesses covered, you should go for that. Every policy would definitely cover an IPD. Definitely you should look for a policy that covers OPD treatments as well. In the next slide, I will talk about all the insurers who cover these treatments. I would request you to please move on to the next slide. Yes. So in a similar manner, I've actually listed top 2 insurers in each domain. At inception, Aditya Birla Platinum Plan and Medi Classic Plan from Star Health, they cover medical illness. Now, mental illness. Now, the Aditya Birla Health Platinum Plan covers mental illness in their policy, but they do not cover it as a PED. So if you're already suffering from something, they would not cover it. But if you actually buy a policy and then the condition arises after that, then it would be covered in Aditya Birla. In Medi Classic, it would be covered, but only for one time and for a consecutive period of 5 days. So if something happens, it would be covered only for one time in your entire life. But it should, and a maximum stretch of 5 days hospitalization, only that would be covered. This is your Star Health Medi Classic. Now, HDFC Health, HDFC Ergo Health, the plan name is My Health Suraksha Plan. It covers all mental illnesses, but it only covers it as IPD and critical illness. So you have to have a minimum of 24 hours of hospitalization for a claim to be approved. There is a health insurance called Digit, which have a specialized plan called OPD plan. Although they cover all the all the daycare procedures in this OPD plan, but for mental illness they have a clause. For psychiatric treatments, they have a clause that there should be a minimum 24 hours hospitalization. So the reason I actually bought this product here is I don't want people to be fooled by the insurer by saying that they cover OPD, because the name of the plan is health OPD, but they do not cover OPD for mental illness. And now two extremely good plans that are there in the market, which actually covers OPD mental illness, are ICICI Health Shield and Max Bupa Go Active plan. Among the two plans, Max Bupa Go Active plan has a limit of 50,000 rupees sum assured for OPD plan, but ICICI Health Shield does not have that limit. The premium of these two plans would be on the higher side, but having said that, they would actually the claim settlement ratio of both the insurers is good, and they would actually cover most of your conditions. So this is how the landscape is broadly, the health insurance landscape is broadly. 2-3 things that I really want everybody to keep in mind. Do not go by words. Read the policy document very carefully. A lot of times, the person who's selling you that policy would twist the words around, and a lot of things that are not covered are actually passed off as covered, and then the policy holder, the person, is actually in a soup. So always do read the policy document carefully. Ask as many questions as you want. uh, Insurers also have small grids about in their brochures of their policy documents that can be easily understood by a normal person, a person who's not basically aware of the insurance language. And no, so definitely you should look through the document in that manner. There is an add-on of OPD cover in Medi Classic Star. I just saw the message. I just have one more slide left, and I'll take all the questions after that, if I may. Can we please move on to the next slide? Okay, so at the cost of actually repeating myself, whenever you're buying a health insurance policy, always inquire about the permanent exclusions that are there. This is true in general as well. Now, if there are some, after doing that, you should always declare all your pre-existing disease. Even if the disease is been treated well and you do not have symptoms of it, and these are all very generic point. Okay, so even if the disease is been treated well, you should definitely mention it to the insurer, and you should make sure that it's there in your declaration form. Then opt for a critical illness cover. I would really recommend everybody to have a critical illness cover, and if possible, definitely opt for an OPD cover. These are the 4 must-haves for your health insurance policy with respect to today's time and scenarios. Can we move on to the next slide? Yeah, this is my email ID. Please reach out to me for any questions at this email ID, and I'm open for questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the presentation, ma'am. I think we have quite a few queries. We request Ms. Dr. Nirmala Srinivasan to actually come on and then ask her queries. Dr. Nirmala, please.
Hello. Yes.
So shall I stop screen sharing?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
My questions are addressed to Kamini speaker. First of all, I want to compliment both the speakers, exceedingly good speakers, because usually so much of concern and interest taken in mental illness and mental health insurance. I have not come across so many insurance agents or insurance officials doing it. I want to compliment both the speakers, and
Thank
it's
you so much,
very, very heartening as a parent to hear such changes happening. And I wish you all the best in your furthering the cause rather than just your career. And I'm sure you are the type who will further the cause. Thank you so much. Madam, my questions, and also to Mr. Solanki, very impressed, thoroughly impressed, sir. There was a touch of warmth in your presentation.
Thank you.
I have not come across this before. Thank you so much. Madam Kamini, my questions are like this. First and foremost, is there any reason you have not mentioned public sector companies, public sector insurance companies? That is the first question. The second question is, are the companies covering OPD? Don't they cover IPD? Is it exclusively only OPD?
So
yes, one by one, would you like to just finish the answers one by one? Why you have excluded public sector companies?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I do not exclude public sector companies by choice. So when I look at the 3-4 PSUs that we have in the market, only National has a product that barely tries to cover mental illness. Having said that, the reason why I do not recommend it to any of my client is the service part of it. Now, if somebody is already very daunted with the illness and no other problems, that person do not want to actually face a service issue. Of late, we have actually seen a lot of people facing service issues specifically from the PSU side. I'm really not disregarding any of those companies. They have their own challenges, and we also sell group health insurances to some companies, and there we always actually recommend public PSUs. But
yeah, sorry.
Therefore,
I have insurance for my son. I have an insurance from public sector company, that is United India.
Right, ma'am.
And this insurance was given to him much before Mental Health Care Act came.
Right, ma'am.
For there was another earlier legislation called Persons with Disabilities Act.
Right.
And they had not included mental illness, was not a scheduled disability, but it was identified as a 7th or some disability to be included subsequently. But in the meantime, this Mental Health Care Act and all came. Be that as it may, at that stage, somehow we managed to convince the local branch manager of UIIC, who was a person with a lot of initiative, and my son got that insurance much before the legislation. However, now these are two things which probably we will like to share with others. One is, he has one more year, he will complete 8 years in United India.
Right.
And once you complete 8 years, I think all insurance companies have to settle claims without any asking for details and all, correct?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. This is a reason.
Is this true only for United India, or is it for all? This is my question.
No, ma'am. Actually, this is your third question, so I'll move on to your second question now.
Sorry.
If we buy an OPD cover, then is IPD not covered? Ma'am, OPD works in two manners. For your normal health insurance policy, OPD sometimes is an add-on cover. So by add-on, I mean that it would be an option. If you want to take it, then you have to pay a little bit of extra premium and then you can take it. Then the second way OPD has been looked at is just OPD cover. So there are several insurers, for example, Digit. The Digit OPD cover would only cover OPD treatments and not IPD. So you have to buy a health insurance cover. OPD is always an option, but if you have that option available, I really recommend everybody to opt for it.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I ask one question?
My third question.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a minute, ma'am. We will call everyone one by one. Ms. Ayali, we will call everyone one by one.
Yes, ma'am. Now moving on to your third
question. There are two things. More than a question, I would like to request you to share with anybody, but because recently IRDA, one is this, after 8 years,
yes, ma'am,
we can claim. Secondly, all policy holders, I believe you can see whether this is right or wrong. You can, all policy holders are entitled to get one page called a customer information sheet.
Right.
Because as you rightly said, we don't understand your language. It's very tough. And these policies run into pages. So can you also elaborate for the benefit of other families and present
Dr.
here.
Nirmala, Dr.
Yes.
Nirmala, we couldn't hear your question. Could you just repeat the last question?
Hello. Yes.
Ma'am, I understood your
Madam,
question. Shall I go ahead?
I was talking about customer information sheet, and there are new other some more privileges given by IRDA.
Right.
In the consolidated guidelines dated October 2020.
Correct. Yes.
Some of these, if you remember offhand, that may be of help to the participants here.
Yes,
because that is
sure.
also adds value apart from an insurance.
Yes, ma'am, sure. So to set a little bit of context for this particular thing, my boss basically is Kapil Mehta. Kapil Mehta is a veteran in insurance industry, and he's been working on several changes like these. So, ma'am, the act that you're talking about, which basically says that if you have paid your premium for 8 years without any break, an insurance company cannot really reject your claim. That is true for all the insurance companies, and this act was actually bought by Securenow. We had consistently written to IRDA and for their amendments, and this amendment came into picture in 2019, late 2019 rather. And this was an initiative by Securenow, which was headed by my boss, Kapil Mehta.
Heartiest congratulations, madam.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, it is true. If you actually pay your insurance premium for 8 consecutive years, insurance company cannot reject your claim. Having said that, if an insurance company has rejected your claim and you feel that it's been rejected on some invalid grounds, you can reach out to Insurance Ombudsman. Now, if you go to IRDA website, there is a section called Insurance Ombudsman, which is basically like a consumer court for insurance, wherein you can lodge your complaint, and the insurance ombudsman there would be a proper hearing where a representative from the insurer would be there, and you would be there, and you would be given a proper chance to actually present your case, why you feel your claim should be settled. And we also do that for our clients. Recently, 2 of our clients whose claims were rejected on invalid grounds, the ombudsman asked the insurance company to settle those claims and continue their policies. So there are several ways, and the IRDA and all the regulations are very much in favor of policyholders. It's just that a little bit of awareness is missing, and if with that awareness, I believe we can actually have very good health insurance coverages for everybody in our country.
And finally, about the customer information sheet, that is also very important for the policyholders, especially for the
yes, ma'am,
disabled persons. So please share about that also.
Yes, ma'am. So there are 2 ways in which you can actually view these customer information sheet. First of all, if you know the product, if it's by say an insurer called Max Bupa, you go to their website, and every insurer is supposed to have this. You know, this is actually again mandated by IRDA, that you have to have a section wherein you put all your resources there, and there would be a brochure, and there would be, they name it in different manners. Sometimes they name it brochure, sometimes they name it policy wording, sometimes they name it customer information sheet as well. You can download that. There would be proper Excel grid in which they would talk about the policy, what is covered, what is not covered, what is included, what is not included, for what sum assured you will get what coverage, what is your room rent capping, what is your ICU capping, what are the charges for your ambulance. Everything is actually listed in a proper grid manner. You can access it on insurance website, or you can also access it on aggregators website. So aggregators like Policy Bazaar, they do a fabulous job in actually curating all these documents. Aggregators like CoverFox, it just requires a little bit of reading, and you can definitely get access to all these things.
Yeah,
thank you
very much.
Hello.
Thank you. We invite Mr.
Hello.
Vijay. I think he has been waiting for some time. Sir, please go on and ask your questions. Mr. Vijay Nalawala.
Yeah, thank you very much. My question was, Ms. Singhal had mentioned out of the 6 companies which she had talked about for coverage of mental illness,
Right,
3 of them were Max Bupa, Star Alliance, and I think the third one which was there, ICICI Lombard.
Right, sir.
Now, I head a peer support community, Bipolar India. Now, all three companies have rejected, proposals for mental health cover. All right. So when you list some specific covers, that also goes against the essence of the Mental Health Care Act. We talked about parity between physical health and mental health. All right.
Right, sir.
So when the most of these companies, along with that, you have submitted information of specific products. Right.
Right.
That itself defeats the purpose, I believe.
Sir, I actually completely agree with you. And that is the sad reality that we are in right now. Like when I was talking about that lawsuit that happened, that was actually on Max Bupa. It was a lawsuit which was filed by Supreme Court, and it was for Max Bupa as well as for IRDAI, because they had approved a product which excluded mental illness. And which is not allowed by the Act, Mental Health Care Act 2017. So, we right now, we are in a stage that we have to find the right permutation and combination wherein we can get covered. These challenges were there a lot earlier. Of course, there has been a difference right now, but of course, there is a long way to go. So, whenever such things happen for at least our clients, what we do is we persistently keep on trying, and for most of them we actually are able to get health cover. It's just a lot of persistence that is required sometimes.
See, because I would agree about what you are saying from that is if they are approaching you. But otherwise, if a person
Yes,
is
sir, I
mental
completely
illness or a caregiver to that person, why would that person need to be persistent? I pay 80,000 a year as premium for my 3-member family, right?
Right, sir.
Every year my premium is accepted by the company, but the illnesses are not, right?
Yes, sir.
So that, of course, it's not only my personal situation. That is a situation which everybody
Yes, sir, completely. And that is the situation with people in the industry are also facing. So there are no special rules for people in the industry as well. But yes, that's a big challenge that, that would just not require, that would require everybody to come together and actually work on it.
Because ICICI and Lombard outright, we have got it in writing. They have they have said in writing that they don't cover mental health. Star Alliance did not, accept the porting of a policy because pre-existing mental illness was there.
Right.
Yeah? Max Bupa has actually rejected a claim because the claim was for psychosis, 3.25 lakhs. We have got evidence of all this.
Right.
So it's not just hearsay.
No, sir, I completely agree with you, actually. But the only way to resolve this problem is actually by being a little persistent. If you have the documents of these people whose claims were rejected on these grounds, I would really urge you to go to Insurance Ombudsman. Their email IDs and everything can be accessed from IRDA website.
Right.
If you want, I can, if you'll just write me an email, I'll send you the entire list of email IDs. It's specific to every region, and I would really urge you to write to them, and they would definitely provide some sort of
But these matters are being presented in court now.
Yes, correct. So this is a special court for Insurance Ombudsman, and we represent a lot of our clients there. And most of those clients are heard properly and their issues are resolved. So I would really urge you to do that as well.
Yeah, thank you.
I think just want to add to this, Shiva, that I think that currently there was a judgment recently from the Delhi High Court, which said that all basically policies should have covered mental illness from June 2018 when the law came into effect. And of course, I anticipate that there will be further litigation on that. Similarly, there are also cases being litigated about the cap on certain conditions, such as mental health conditions, not being on par. So I think some of these things are still in litigation and will be determined, but I fully agree that it is a difficult situation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we have a question from Mr. Harish, Dr. Harish Angotu, who's our colleague. So he wants to ask, can an insurance company sell a policy and exclude mental illness coverage right now? Ms. Kamini, can you actually answer that?
By law, they actually cannot. but in practice they are doing that, and that's where they're facing a lot of litigations as well. But by law they actually cannot. By law they're obliged to include mental illness in their policy.
Okay, thank you for clarifying, ma'am. Next, we have a query from Ms. Jyoti. She asks, does Ayushman Bharat cover mental illness?
Ayushman Bharat by law will also cover mental illness. Having said that, the premium, the sum assured amount for Ayushman Bharat is very less and might not be sufficient for several treatments. So that is a little drawback, but definitely no one can try for that.
Yeah, Ayushman Bharat covers inpatient hospitalizations, but it does not have an OPD cover.
OPD cover, yes.
Deepak, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, no, there are specific rates given for electroconvulsive therapy, admission in a high dependency unit. So there are specific rates and slabs which are put up for Ayushman Bharat. But it, as you both pointed out, it only qualifies for inpatient and not outpatient treatment.
Yeah, then we have a query from Ms. Vidya Kale. Ms. Vidya, are you there? Can you actually unmute yourself and ask your question? Ms. Vidya, are you there?
Yes, हाँ मैं हूँ यहाँ पर। मैंने सवाल पूछा था कि मैं ऑलरेडी थेरेपी ले रही हूँ रेगुलर बेसिस पर और उसका कॉस्ट अप्रॉक्स 4,000 अराउंड जाता है मुझे हर मंथ में। तो क्या इसके लिए भी इस टाइप का ये भी इंश्योरेंस में कवर होगा, और अगर होगा तो फिर प्रीमियम किस तरह से, मतलब कितना मतलब देना पड़ेगा इसमें?
हाँ जी, विद्या जी, आपका ये कुछ इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज कवर करेंगे। थोड़ा सा आपको ढूंढना पड़ेगा मार्केट में। इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज के साथ साथ कुछ कंपनीज हैं सच एज हेल्थ एश्योर, वो लोग क्या करते हैं कि वो सिर्फ ओपीडी कवर पे ही फोकस करते हैं। तो जैसे आपके जो VLCC ट्रीटमेंट्स होते हैं या डेंटल ट्रीटमेंट्स होते हैं जो आपकी नॉर्मल हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस का में कवर्ड नहीं होते, वो हेल्थ अश्योर जैसी कंपनीज कवर करते हैं। तो मैं आपको बोलूँगी आप एक बार हेल्थ एश्योर भी चेकआउट करिएगा। एंड ओपीडी कवर्स हैं मार्केट में, अगर वो मेंटल इलनेस कवर करते हैं तो वो आपका ये डेफिनेटली कवर करेंगे। रिगार्डिंग योर प्रीमियम ना बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स पे डिपेंड करता है। आपका सम अश्योर्ड कितना है, आपकी एज कितनी है, बहुत सारी चीज़ों के कॉम्बिनेशन से आपका एक बनता है। तो आपको मैं अभी प्रीमियम रेंज तो नहीं बता पाऊंगी, बट मेरी ईमेल आईडी मैं आपको दे सकती हूँ। आप अपना रिक्वायरमेंट मुझे वहाँ पे बता दीजिए एंड अकॉर्डिंगली आई विल असाइन माय टीम कि वो आपके रिक्वायरमेंट पे काम करे। वी विल ट्राई टू गेट बेस्ट फॉर यू।
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, Dr. Harish has an additional message for everyone that Ayushman Bharat unfortunately offers coverage only when treatment happens in government sector hospitals. So that is an additional information which Dr. Harish has given us. Now we invite Ms. Suchita for actually asking her question. Ms. Suchita, are you there?
Hello. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead with your question.
हाँ मैम, मेरा क्वेश्चन ऐसा है कि आई एम फ्रॉम महाराष्ट्र, मुंबई। आई एम अ पेरेंट ऑफ ऑटिस्टिक चाइल्ड. I want to know, is there any government or private company offers a policy for autistic individual, either mediclaim or life insurance, whatever?
मैम लाइफ इंश्योरेंस तो मुश्किल होगा। लाइफ इंश्योरेंस आप अपना ले सकते हैं ना, अपने बेबी को, अपने बच्चे को नॉमिनी बना सकते हो। हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस में स्टार हेल्थ का एक प्रोडक्ट है जो ऑटिज्म पे फोकस करता है, तो आप उस पे एक बारी यू कैन रीच आउट टू एंड आप उसके लिए ट्राई कर सकते हो। हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सैडली, सॉरी टर्म इंश्योरेंस, लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सैडली अगर आपको कोई मेंटल इलनेस है तो नहीं मिलता है, बट आप अपने लिए टर्म इंश्योरेंस ले सकते हैं और आप अपने बच्चे को कवर कर सकते हैं, नॉमिनी उसको बना सकते हैं।
हेलो
हेलो, एम आई ऑडिबल?
ओके
मैम,
स्टार हेल्थ का, हेलो
हाँ जी बताइए।
स्टार हेल्थ का हमने इंक्वायरी किया तो ऑटिज्म के लिए है, लेकिन वहाँ एज लिमिट है टिल द एज ऑफ 25 ओनली. So my question is that what will do after 25 years of age that autistic individual? कहाँ जाएंगे?
वो 25 years ना एंट्री एज। हेलो मैम, आपको समझ में आ रहा है? मैं ऑडिबल?
Yes ma'am, you are audible ma'am. Please go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, all I'm trying to say is that age limit 25 years entry age limit होती है. तो अगर कोई 25 years तक है तो आप उसको ले सकते हैं, बट आपको कवरेज हर एक हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस में लाइफ टाइम मिलता है. दैट्स अगेन रेगुलेटेड बाय IRDA. आपकी कोई भी इंश्योरर आपको कभी ये नहीं बोल सकता कि आपकी एज ये हो गई है तो हम आपको हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस कवर कंटिन्यू नहीं करने देंगे. एंट्री एज डेफिनेटली होती है बट कंटिन्यूएशन एज नहीं होती है. I'm not sure if I was able to connect.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, I think you're audible. I think miss connectivity
Yeah.
issues. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I think next Miss Dr. Vanishri has a question. Are there any government insurance? Is there anything that covers persons with mental illness?
On government policies, I believe we've already spoken about. And specifically, I do not know a lot of schemes because I haven't. I'm really sorry. That's my limited knowledge. मेरे को काफी सारे schemes भी बताएं for government which has been started by as an association with the government. But yes, PSUs cover mental health. Service is a little problem, but you would definitely get a coverage. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Dr. Shivakumar, can I add a little more about government schemes?
Yes,
ma'am, can we just cover some of the other queries, ma'am? Because some of them are relevant and we are running out of time. Towards the end, I'll again call you.
Yeah, government schemes are there for mental illness.
Yeah. Ms. Sayali, I think you have a query about OPD consultations. Ms. Sayali, can you unmute yourself and then speak?
I can come in. She's had to sign off, but
Yeah.
I had a question. So hi, this is Amity here. So just a question was that Ms. Kamini, you had said certain policies like ICICI and Max are better for OPD coverage. Could you talk a little bit more about that? And from they give around like 5 OPD consultations, and that's really not enough. This is from our findings, so just wanted you to share your views on this.
Max Bupa does have a limit to OPD consultation. Their limit is in terms of sum assured. I believe only 50,000 in a year is allowed. ICICI Health Shield, which is a new product which is launched by ICICI last 3 months. Actually, it was launched in January. That does not have any limit with respect to number of consultation or your cover. But the only drawback with that product is that the premium is substantially high. And by substantially, I mean, as compared to other products, it would be at least 25 to 30% high. So that's one drawback which is there with them. But they by and large cover everything. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, that was helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Towards the end, if I
Miss-
may have a
Miss Sayali,
opportunity to speak, I'm now speaking. Towards the end, whenever convenient.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Ms. Sayali actually asked like about whether the OPD, there are limits for OPD consultations in some policies. Ms. Kamini, can you actually answer that? About
Yes,
OPD, limits for
I
OPD?
just answered that yes, there are limits in OPD consultation. The limit sometimes could be with respect to your sum assured or sometimes with respect to the number of consultations. So it depends on insurer to insurer. But of late, insurers are trying to actually upgrade that. And having said that, there are healthcare companies also which are coming into play and improving the quality. There are companies like Health Assure. This is the only I can remember right now, but there are more companies like these. They actually have special OPD covers which you can get in 500 and 700 rupees. You have combinations of covers, so you will have to look it up on their web application, mobile application. But I'm sure with a lot of combination, you would be able to find something for yourself.
Okay. I think Ms. Vimala had a question on whether existing policyholders of health insurance have cover for mental illness. Like technically you should, but I think the current some practical situation has been discussed by Ms. Kamini.
Yes,
And-
technically, I completely agree with you. Technically, you should, but sometimes insurers they reject claims which are valid. So in practice, a lot of things actually change, but technically you should, yes.
Yeah, there is our colleague, Dr. Aarti. Dr. Aarti, can you unmute yourself and then ask your query? Dr. Aarti? She actually had a question that for those who have predetermined mental illness, that is pre-existing condition, does a waiting period of 4 years hold true?
Yes,
if
it
we want to take
does.
up OPD policies.
Yes, it does. Waiting period is different for different insurers. And if you declare your condition in PED, it is true for every health condition. So it is true for your mental illness as well.
Okay. Thank you. Mrs. Sai, can you unmute yourself and then
Actually,
ask
it
your
is
question?
not 4 years for all companies, I think.
Yes, ma'am. It's not 4 years for all companies, but minimum is 2 years. There is not a single company which has a
Max Copa is 2 years.
Yes.
Star is 2 years. That much I
Hello.
know.
Hello.
Yes, Mrs. Sai, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for giving the opportunity. I'm an administrator of a 80-bedded psychiatric hospital. I wanted to ask a question. Patients come for on onset of illness and get admitted for maybe 15 days, and then they come for follow-up and also for therapy sometime. So, which policy will be good for them?
Ma'am,
Because we have tried for government policies also, but at least in Maharashtra, they are not working right now.
I understand. Ma'am, every insurance policy has a pre and post, post-treatment cover, which basically means, so for example, if you're taking a hospitalization treatment for a disease A, then 30 days before, whatever you had to actually test and everything you had to go through for that disease, that's covered. And 30 days after you've been treated, that would be also covered. So this holds true for all the policies. They have a pre and post hospitalization cover. Having said that, if the illness itself is not covered, then it's a problem. But if the illness is paid by the insurer, then pre and post would also be covered. They just have to collate all their bills and they have to send it to the insurer for reimbursement, because there is no cashless for pre and post hospitalization treatments.
Yeah, there is no cashless facility, right?
Yeah, there's no cashless.
Our problem is we are on the treating side. So when a patient comes to the hospital, he is already suffering from the illness.
Right.
So we cannot help in that situation. That is our real problem.
Yes, yeah, I understand that.
And before
So one
onset of any illness, nobody comes to the psychiatric hospital.
Yes,
So
that's
there is no we cannot give that knowledge to anybody actually.
exactly. That is actually true. If we actually beforehand know about all these things and then we have them in our lives, it would definitely make it a little easier. But awareness has been always a challenge with the insurance industry, and it still holds true.
Okay, I have one last question. Amongst all these policies you have told about, which will be suitable for the patients who come for OPD and therapies?
ICICI Health Shield.
ICICI Health Shield.
Yeah.
Okay,
That would be on a little on the expensive side, but it's a very good product.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, I think Mr. Subhashish has a query on whether Securenow provides customized solution for individual families. I think it's more a business solution.
Yes, we do. And by customized solutions, we mean we would curate it for you. For example, we would pick a plan from Max Bupa, pick a plan from some PSU, and would make the most affordable and comprehensive plan for you. But we do not have the ownership of those plans. तो वो plans सारे insurance companies से होंगे, but we would smartly curate it for you. So that's what we do for most of our clients. Having said that, our entire business line is serving commercial insurances to small and medium-sized companies. This is a very small vertical which has been started by the co-founder Kapil Mehta and I, wherein we're just doing a need-based consultation and servicing for people who require knowledge about health insurance and other insurances.
Yeah, and Mr. Karthik has a query that he's 34 years old and can he opt for insurance and
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm Karthik and I would like to know if I can opt for insurance. I'm already 34 years old.
Yes,
So
you can.
And one more thing, my monthly expenses towards medications goes up to 5,000, and I would like to know if there's any insurance for that where I can.
Yes, there is. There is a policy, there is a product by Religare. Now it is known as Care Health Insurance. Their Care Freedom product will actually also, which does cover 25% of your, or some percentage of your pharmacy cost as well. So if you buy a Care Freedom product, they would give you access to their application, mobile application, from where you can just reimburse your bills, your pharmacy bills.
Is it insurance company?
Yeah, it was earlier known as Religare Insurance Company. In 2020 October, they renamed themselves as Care Insurance Company, CARE, Care Insurance Company.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
A last query from Ms. Geeta. Which is the best term insurance? Is there something like a best term insurance, or what do you suggest?
Ma'am, a best insurance is something that actually cater to all your requirements. So a best term insurance or a best health insurance would be different for different people. So in general, there isn't, but specifically to somebody, there definitely would be.
Yeah.
I have one question for Kamu. Hello. Only
Just a
one
minute.
question.
Just a minute, ma'am. We have Mr. Jaisimha's father. So, Mr.
Okay.
Jaisimha's father, I think you wanted to speak, sir. Please unmute yourself and then speak, sir.
I've unmuted myself.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I won't take more than 2-3 minutes because time is running out. I am going back to Mr. Solanki's conversation that subject to affordability, a caretaker must have insurance where he otherwise for the purpose of life, for the purpose of health,
Go
for
meet
the purpose of
the head of
property.
unit 2. Go meet them today itself with this. Go tell the office, ask them who to report to. You have to report to Dr. Sanjeev Jain.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
Dr. Sanjeev.
No, perfectly all right. Please, whenever you.
Please. Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
I would like to wrap up from my side my understanding of this after all these wonderful discussions that have taken place. To go back to what Mr. Solanki said, the caretaker is the primary person we are talking about, and his or her financial ability to take the risk of losing and covering life insurance, health insurance, property insurance. These are the three lines in which a person can lose everything. So for them to be provided with protection through insurance, they should be asked and not sold. They should be asked, what is your comfort to buy? Without their comfort to buy, we should not push anything to them because then we become salespeople. They should be asked, what can you take for life insurance? How is your need to be measured? Your need is on your earning capacity. And the loss of that earning capacity will go to your estate. A simple point. Property, the value of the property. Health, how do you measure health insurance? How do you take it? There is an actuarial chart, a medical actuarial chart that projects that people at the age of, say, 35 would have X ailment in 5 years. Now, what would be the cost of that X ailment, taking into account medical inflation, is the amount which you can pitch upon for the sum insured for that policy. Therefore, these are the principles basically on which insurance should be discussed and educated. A caretaker should be educated about this because we don't know about those things. So in simple terms, if you do this, will be done. The next point is so many products have come out. All these products have been approved by the IRTA, subject to the company's capacity to insure a small or a large market. Everything is relatively new, and in insurance, it is the spread of risk. If a person has, if there are 10 people in a community who got a lack of property each, if one person loses it, then there is 9 people who got to contribute to the rest of it. So the smaller the contribution of people, the greater will be the rate of premium and the capacity to absorb it. So this is not like a pack. This is something which has to go very slowly, very gradually. And risks like mental health, anything that is insurable, anything that has happened should be insurable. And time tells over 100 years what can be insured, what should not. But we have come to a point where we can do something very tangible for demands and or for people who are caregivers who are attached to demands or who come to demands. By asking them, by getting a program with them, with us, with the insurance companies to say, what is it? And on these parameters, take it and take it forward. So health, mental insurance is definitely on now. And these are aspects which can be taken fully into account and taken as a pilot project. We are speaking about OPD. That has also been done in companies as we hear, but that must be very specifically put out to the IRDA, my capacity to do OPD. And when we say high or low premium, we cannot evaluate it like they're not equals. It's not apples to apples in health insurance or any other insurance. So that is my submission, but it would make a wonderful start if we approach these caregivers and make a concentrated approach to them to say that we are coming to you, or get a meeting with them, or ask them to set up a meeting. Today it's very easy to have online meetings. Such a meeting would be wonderful, and your great efforts would bear fruit for the future.
Thank you very much, sir. That is something which we have on our minds. So shortly we plan to do that, and we will be in touch with you for the same.
I'll be very grateful, and I'll be very happy to help in any manner I can from what my experience may be in life insurance and in general insurance. I have 50 years experience, and in life insurance I have over 20. And I'm learning that it is the need of the person and his affordability that he can buy and be happy.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
Ms. Kamini, one request
Yes,
I have. Yeah. Is Kamini Sehgal still available, audible?
Yes,
Hello.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Since you said your boss, Kapil Mehta, is very well known in the insurance industry, I
Yes, ma'am.
have a request to be conveyed to him and from the families of persons with disabilities, especially mental illness.
Yes,
Please
ma'am.
ask him if Government of India can remove 18% GST on health insurance products.
Right, ma'am.
Especially for mental illness. 18% GST is too much. I have been representing this for the last 2 years, and finally it's now come to the PMO's office, I believe. That is
Right.
what the feedback I get, but it's stuck there for quite some time, because again it is likely to be sent back to the Department of Financial Services. That's what happened once. I won't be certain. So please ask him on behalf of all of us. We'll be very grateful to you.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Certainly.
Sure,
Instead
I
of
would.
18, not even 1% should be there, and especially for mental illness, where their employment, their capacity to earn and other things are all, in very gray areas. Even now, hardly anybody gets employment. Even the government reserved quotas for employment for mentally ill is not
Thank you, ma'am.
completed.
I think we
So
will have to stop because of
Please,
want of time. Your
convey this.
point is
I'll be
taken.
in touch with you. Thank you
Yeah,
so
your
much.
point is taken.
Certainly, most certainly. Wonderful thing.
Yeah, Mr. Jitendra, right. Please.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So, question to Kamini. As far as autism is concerned, so there is one more product from Religare Health, Religare Care for Diabetes. They have
Right.
listed out, that they cover hypertension along with that autism also. Okay. So I think for autism, you have Star Health and Religare. Both are covering autism now.
Right, yes. I recommend Star Health more because Religare, the Care Diabetes plan, you're talking about that plan, that's very specific to diabetes, I believe.
No, it's specific to diabetes, but they are giving coverage to autism also. The only thing in that is that they are covering it as a pre-existing illness. So you have a 2 years waiting period in that.
Right,
But the question of this entry age came in for 25 years. Our health has that limit. Now,
Right.
anybody, any autistic, person for above age 25 years, Star Health would not be a viable,
Correct.
would not be available.
Right,
So
right, right.
that's
Correct.
probably the second product which might be available where, families can.
Indeed, indeed. Yes, I completely agree with you. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like, I think we have had a very fruitful session, and I think we are getting a lot of appreciative messages of both our resource persons who have shared their valuable time. So we thank both Mr. Jitendra as well as Ms. Kamini for having taken your valuable time out and then come out and then shared your expertise with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Deepak, it is over to you.
Yeah. No. So anyway, thank you to all of you. Thank you to our speakers and chairpersons, and thank you to all of you who participate. We'll be back next month. We'll shortly announce what the program is for that. But we look forward to all of your participation. And again, thank you to everybody for being a part of it. I'm aware that there are some questions that people have about camps and the UDID. What I suggest is I put in the email addresses. I put in the email address for nimansrehab@gmail.com. Please contact us and we'll try and help you, because that is a larger question. So thank you to all of you.